Happy Wednesday, everybody. Andy and Steve from WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com, ready for the road to millions on January 10th. We're going to go over some NBA props, not too much in NHL, but we do have your sneaky play of the day, stat of the day, and we're going to go over a college basketball play. Steve's been dominating in those this season, and I'm going to go over some golf plays as well to kind of point you in the right direction for those. The golf preview video is up on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. It's a full tourney for the Sony, but we'll go over a couple other plays here, and an unbreakable sports record Hall of Fame nominee. It's golf season. We haven't done a golf one yet, so of course we had to put one in there. You guys can imagine there's only a couple guys that hold most of the golf records, and we'll go over the big one, Mr. Tiger Woods. So, positive vibes, guys. We haven't done a show the last couple days, so let's get some positive vibes going. Give us a thumbs up and leave us a comment. Tell us how 2024 is going. Tell us what your best bet is for this playoff weekend. So, positive vibes from us. We're having a great Road to Millions week. We are 10-2 since Friday. We're up over 12 units. And I don't know if we're going to have any plays tonight or tomorrow. Like, we have our golf plays that start tomorrow, but there's no Thursday night football. There's only 3 NHL games, so I think we're in the mode of just take the money and run. For Bankroll Reset Day on Friday. So let's get started with the sneaky play of the day. You're going with Scotty Barnes, and he's involved in a little bit of, I don't want to say controversy, but man, was his coach pissed last night about the lack of free throws. So if you want to remind everybody what happened with that one, Steve, and then let's talk about the under rebounds and assists here.
Yeah, it was a tough loss last night for them. They lost by 1 point to the Lakers last night in that one. And then, so, I mean, this is a spot here where we're going to go under again on Barnes because the trade has essentially shifted both of these teams into different spots. The Brunson has been a great assist play on his over since the trade with the Knicks. And then this Barnes under has been 5 for 5 since the trade. Clippers are great against his position, top 10 in rebounds and assists. And he's on that back-to-back after a hard-fought loss as well.
Yeah, and the back-to-back was tough. I would take the over on Scotty Barnes' free throw attempts tonight. His coach just trashed the refs about the free throw disparity. He was talking about Barnes not getting any free throws. I love when coaches go crazy afterwards. Sometimes it's really worth it. Sometimes it's just laughable. And I think this one was more laughable. The coach was a little bit more laughable. He was pissed. But, Steve, direct quote was, he said, Scotty Barnes is going to be the future face of the league. Calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down. I don't know who's going to be the face of the league, but I know it's not going to be Scotty Barnes.
Yeah, he's been great for the most part. I mean, he has to support him. I get what he's doing. You know what I mean? But that would play into this one a little bit too. He might take some more shots tonight and a little bit less on the assist role. I mean, it's just that since this trade, he's been under in all 5 games since the trade, and then we've seen the Knicks flourish on the other side of things. You know, they're 5-0 since that trade. So yeah, and like I said, the Brunson was a great one on the over for assists for a while. He fell short in one of the games, but I think he's hitting all the others.
Yeah, so let's take the under on future face of the league, Scotty Barnes, under his rebounds and assists. Let's do stat of the day. This one's funny. This one is really funny. Like you said, one of these things is not like the other.
Yeah, so there's currently 5 players in the NBA who average a triple-double per 100 possessions. LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Joker, Sabonis, and Kelly Olynyk. Right, rounds out the 5 guys. Like you said, one of these things is not like the other. But we were just talking before the show, and Olynyk, he's a great role player, man. He's a great guy. I think he's a guy that could really help in a championship team if they were looking at a piece down the stretch here.
It's a guy that, quietly, what a really solid career. The guy averages 22 minutes. He's been in the league since 2013. I mean, you look at him and you would be like, no way this guy could have a 10-year NBA career. And here he is, still playing over 21 minutes a game, coming off the bench, putting up numbers. I'm with you. He's a great bench player to come off for. Like, he can spell both your bigs, your power forward or your center. He can give you some points. He can be physical. He's not a disaster. And there's a lot of teams that, boy, they could use him.
There was that season too that we were on his over, what was it, over rebounds plus assists, right? For like a
Yes,
stretch where,
he was crushing.
yeah, he was going over consistently. I remember that one season, I think it was 2 years ago now, where we had him consistently on his over RA, and he would just consistently cash that ticket. I think, was he with Houston then? Is that what it was?
I can't remember where it was, but I just remember
Yeah.
he was the only guy. He was the only big man, so it was just like he was crushing it.
Yeah. Get the rebounds, and yeah, he was a good assist man as well.
All right, so that's your stat of the day here. Very funny. Very funny. A couple specials. We're still running our golf and auto racing special, discounted to $299. And last day or so for the promo code Lang50, $1,000 off for 365 days worth of sports. Use the promo code Lang50. We are 91 units last year. We are already over 20 units in 2024, 10 and 2 since last Friday. This week's kind of been my perfect week. I love it. I know everyone else wants higher volume, but we only had 12 plays and we won 10 of them. I could not be happier, Steve. I just could not be
You can't beat
happier.
that.
So use that at WagerTalk.com. Just go to Andy Lang. And Steve, what do you have up right now?
Yeah, I have a hoops pack up. It's going to have a college basketball play added to it as well. But NBA, I've been playing NBA every day, and I'm 29 and 21 my last 50 since December 1st. 29 and 21 in hoops, whether it be NBA or college basketball player props. And you can use the code SAVE15, get $15 off a 3-day all-access pass. A good time to do it would be for the weekend with football coming up as well. We'll be in action in the NFL for Wildcard Weekend.
Love it. Love it. So go take advantage of those. We're going to get to our Unbreakable Sports Record Hall of Fame nominee. First, though, there's nothing in NHL. There's only 3 games. I literally can't find anything. I had a new one last night, Steve. As you know, I've been doing the players to not have a point, and this is a new category, and I love the category. I'm 13 and 3 since we're doing it, so this is going to be my jam.
Love it.
But so last night I had Braden Shen to not have a point. He scored a goal 3 minutes into the game, and they lost 5-1.
Oh, man, what a heartbreaker. Damn.
It's weird because since this is the first year of me doing this category, like kind of every experience is a new experience. So like I had a guy did not score a point. His team scored 5 goals. Somehow he didn't have a point in any of them. And then you get the flip side, which is where when they score 1 goal and it happens to be your guy that scores a goal right off the bat. I got to tell you one thing I have learned. I'd rather lose these plays in the first period rather than the third. I want this. If I'm going to lose it, I want it over. I don't want to have to watch the rest of the game. The worst is when they they get a point late. We lost one in overtime, which that was the worst. That was the absolute worst. So
I guess calling it a heartbreaker, it's kind of the opposite of a heartbreaker is losing it at the end, right? You know what I mean? So like you lose it at the beginning, you get it out of the way, put it behind you, and you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about watching. Sitting there white knuckling it till the end,
White knuckling until the end. That's so true. All right, let's talk a little bit of NBA. Again, no NHL plays for me tonight, and I'm probably not going to have any tomorrow. So I'm just really happy with the zone that we've been in, and I'll probably take a day or two off, kind of reset here. But NBA, we got plenty of games tonight, Steve. Which games do you want to talk about?
So the first thing I wanted to talk about was actually a turnover prop that it's Killian Hayes. There's no number out on this prop yet, but so we know when Cade Cunningham isn't playing, the ball is in Hayes' hands more in the books. I caught the book slipping last night.
They put it out at 1. It was brilliant.
They put it out.
I was so proud of you for that play, man.
Thank you. They put it out at 1.5. Yeah, and I should have. I should have shared that. I should have shared that one over on Slack with you. But yeah, I caught him slipping. I think it's going to be 2.5 tonight. But I'd like it regardless. He had 6 turnovers last night. He played 31 minutes, and he hadn't so in the first game 2 games ago when Cunningham went down, he played 25 minutes. He only had 1 turnover in that game, but Cunningham played 11 minutes. So those are those early minutes that Hayes could have committed a turnover. Now the ball's in his hands the full time last night. 6 turnovers in 31 minutes. If you look at it, He hadn't played even 20 minutes in the 6 games prior to these last 2 since Cunningham went down. And against the Spurs, it's going to be a pace-up spot. The Pistons play with a good pace anyway, but the Spurs are one of the top teams in pace of play. So when this number comes out, if it's 2.5, even if it's juicy, I'm jumping on the over again.
Well, juicy, it's the other way. This looks like it's plus money.
Yeah, last night it was 1.5 at -140. That's what you could get it at last night. But
well, if you get 2.5 at plus money, holy cow! We rode this one for a while at the end of last year. I remember this one, and I didn't even think about it. So I saw you had this play up, and I was like, "Oh, Steve got him! Steve got him!" They hung a 1.5 out there.
That's one of these ones that I've just set it in my mind. I'm just gonna, if it's until it gets to 3.5, 2.5 or less, I'm just gonna play it every night until Cunningham returns and just live with those results on it.
Love it. Love the Killian Hayes turnovers. What's another game you're interested in?
We could look at Sabonis under 45.5 PRA tonight. It's just really simple with this one. He look at the back-to-backs, last 30 back-to-backs. He's under in 27 of 30. Wow. If you put up the back-to-back, if you put up 0 days rest on it, he's under in 27 of his last 30 back-to-backs, and his minutes are usually down when he does play a back-to-back. He went over the last time, but he played 40 minutes, and I don't expect him to play that many minutes again tonight.
Wow, that's a hell of a.
There it is, right there. Yeah,
that's a really, really good one. I like the back-to-back situation. It's true. There are some guys that thrive on back-to-backs, and then there are guys that just remember. Phoenix. Remember when Mikal Bridges was there, and he was like. He'd always like set the minutes record or the consecutive starts or whatever. Just an Iron Man when he was on Phoenix. Like on back-to-backs, everyone would play less minutes except him. He'd be out there 40 minutes a game just racking up points. But Sabonis is kind of the other way. So I like this one a lot. And you bring one of the nice things about this is look at some of these numbers. He's not just barely going under. It's under by a significant amount. So I really like that one. I was going to bring up, if we could here, Indiana. I wish I knew what to do here without Tyrese Halliburton. I don't know what the official diagnosis is going to be. I think they actually are going to get positive news on it because he had to be carried off the court. And so when you're like, oh my God, did he tear it? Did he tear it off the bone or something? But they said he was walking around after the game and icing it up and everything. So we know that Tyrese Halliburton is going to be out. So it says grade 1 left hamstring, and he'll be evaluated in 2 weeks. That's such great news for the Pacers if he can only be out, a few games. But so it looks like Nembhard is going to be the guy that steps in and takes over point guard. And of course they don't have any effing props out on him. So I was hoping to try it. I was hoping to try and look at something here. I will tell you against this Washington team, I know the number's high. I would still take the over even without Halliburton. This team's going to be a complete mess on defense. I would look at Washington on their team total over. They got a really crazy win against your Boston Celtics, Steve, without Halliburton in that one. And then they came out and say the Pacers shouldn't have gotten the free throws at the end. I actually think this is a decent spot for this to be just a run and gun, kind of sloppy type of game where Washington has a pretty good game. So I kind of like Washington in this one without Halliburton. Any other games you want to talk about? Or
actually, right in the same game, I was looking at Kuzma. His points, it's sitting at 24.5 now. It was 23.5 all morning, but it moved up. So I still like it. He's hit it in his last 3 against the Pacers, and just the fact is they give up the most points to power forwards, 28 plus per game. And without Halliburton in the mix, I feel like you said, I think it makes it so at least Washington can keep it close, kind of avoid the blowout here. And he's been in rough shape recently, but if you look at it, it's been against tough defenses and tough defenses against his position in particular. So look for him to have a bounce back game tonight against Indiana.
Yeah, I'm with you. Similar line of thinking that this is a matchup where some of these guys from Washington are going to have success tonight. So I think we're in agreement there. Any other plays you liked, or any other games you like tonight?
That's really it for the NBA. That's really all the stuff I have for NBA right now.
All right, so there is your NBA. Again, no NHL. I was going to talk a little bit about a couple things that we can look at here for this weekend coming up. I'm on DraftKings right now. If you're going to play top 20s, play them on BetMGM or Bovada. They pay out full in ties. DraftKings and all the others use heat rules. But what you can do on DraftKings, you can either play top 20 on BetMGM, which includes ties, or you can come over to DraftKings and play top 30. That doesn't include ties. It's kind of the similar thing. So I did a free video about Matthew Fitzpatrick. I really like Matthew Fitzpatrick to finish in the top 20. Pretty weak field. He finished 14th last week in a field that I think is better than this one. And then if you're looking for some parlay pieces, these are some delicious parlay pieces. Steve, these are guys, all you need for them is to make the cut. This is a not a good field. Like, it falls off really, really fast. You've got someone like JT Poston, who's minus 380. This is the second best putter on the PGA Tour on a short course where putting is in demand. He's only minus 380 just to see the weekend. I love that one. You've got Sahith Thagala minus 295. This guy finished second last week. He's a rising star. He's an up-and-comer. You're getting him at just under minus 300. This is just to make the cut. Again, you don't even need them to do well. But these are guys that I think are going to be – I think they're going to be contending for this. So there's a couple really, really good parlay pieces in this one. And then I was hoping that we would get some of the full lines here on some of the distance props in UFC this weekend, but I'll put out the UFC video. I will tell you right now, this Nicholas Mata and Tom Nolan fight, I'll be looking at that to not go the distance, maybe take under 2.5. This fight's minus 375, under 1.5 rounds. That's insane. It's just like just say you're guaranteed to not go. And then the other one I'm looking at is the Phil Hawes and Bruno Ferreira. I would say there's 0% chance this one makes it the distance. You got two glass chins and two power punchers, so don't blink in this one. And then I see the lines moving on Ricky Simon against Mario Batista. It's up to minus 185 money line. I really do like Ricky Simon in this one. I think this is too big of a step up for Bautista. This chain wrestling of Simon and just his power, I think, is going to overwhelm Bautista. Bautista's fought. Steve, his last couple fights, he fought a guy who had less than a week notice. Before that, a 44-year-old guy. And before that, and I'm not joking, a realtor. He fought a realtor. This guy, the guy used to be a UFC fighter. He's a realtor. And then he came back for a fight and got the absolute brakes beaten off him. So you'll forgive me if I think this is too big of a step up in competition for Mario Batista, who's fighting part-time realtors, guys older than us.
Yeah, right.
And a guy on less than a week notice. So those are a couple of UFC looks that we have there. So, all right. Just a quick reminder here. Best way to get WagerTalk plays delivered to you. If you haven't done this yet, set it up, especially if you're a long-term client of ours, because the Australian Open is coming up. Listen, you got a tournament that is on the complete other end of the world. Corbin lives in England. I do not know what time plays are going to come out. I get confused. So if you haven't done this yet, I encourage you to do that. Set up a Gmail. That's very specific. For, I use, just your name, WagerTalk at gmail.com. Turn on notifications and tell WagerTalk you want all your plays to go to that specific email. It's the best way. I've done it. It's kind of annoying because all of my emails now go off. My wife got really mad at me the other night when I forgot to turn my phone off in the middle of the night, and they kept going off. But this is the best way to do it. Then you change your settings inside Gmail. You'll get a notification when a play comes through. Get ready for the Australian Open. You're definitely going to want to do that. And I know plays are going to come out at weird hours, but it's nature of the beast with this one. So. All right, Steve, you ready for the Unbreakable Sports Record Hall of Fame nominee?
Yes, sir.
We are going with Mr. Tiger Woods. And there's a lot of golf records he holds. There's a lot that Jack Nicklaus holds. Phil Mickelson holds a pretty incredible one that I'm sure we'll get to. But this one, 683 combined weeks as the world number one player. It's quite just, I can't even fathom that. So let's go over a couple of notes here. He had a stretch of 264 weeks between August of 1999 and September 2004. Then he had another stretch where it was 281 weeks between June of 2005 and October of 2010. Second place is Greg Norman, who's not even halfway there, which is wild. And there's only 4 players ever, Steve, to have 100 plus weeks at number 1. So, let's just start talking it out. I know you're not a huge golf fan, but when you started looking this up, what'd you find?
So I found a couple of things just to add to these that you had up there. The consecutive weeks streak where he had 281 and 264 for those 2 runs. The next best consecutive streak is Norman with 96. And if you look at it, Dustin Johnson is third for, like, forget about consecutive, just overall. Dustin Johnson is third with 135. So he has more, like, 2 streaks of consecutive runs that are longer than anyone outside of Norman's 331 is for career. You know what I mean? Like, and Norman, the 331, even that's only 48%. That's only 48% of the longest streak. This record, man, it's like this is a slam dunk if I've ever seen one. It's going to take 13 years to break this record. If you started today, you looked that one up too. If you started today, it would take 13 years straight as the number 1 golfer, and it's just. How can anyone break this? How can you justify somebody? You know, what would have to happen for somebody to break this?
I mean, there's absolutely no hesitation here. This is going to be fast tracked into an unbreakable. So,
I thought the same thing.
Yeah. So I'm looking at some of the guys on tour and some of the guys that are hovering around number 1 right now. They're not going to be number 1. They're not going to be competing for number 1 in 13 years. So I go to a guy. His name is Ludwig Aber. He's a phenom. Just came out of college and was on the Ryder Cup. Played great. He's an animal. He hits the ball a mile and he hits it straight. He's not very good at putting, but you got to figure he'll get there. Okay. So let's say he has this is going to be his first full-time season. He played some tournaments last year. Let's say he's great this year and he becomes number 1. He would have to go another 13 years in order to break it. It's impossible.
Yeah, right. It's
like if somebody did it for 3 years now, you would just be like, "This is unbelievable. This is like
it would
crazy."
be dominant.
It would be the most dominant run in modern history outside of Tiger Woods. So I just can't imagine. Like, imagine if somebody started like today. In order for us to revisit this, we would have to do it in the year 2037. Just think about that. So you would have to avoid injuries. And again, Tiger didn't do it consecutively, but the crazy thing is that break was the break of his, that was not because of like his golf game went to shit. There was other things that were going. He could have extended this. So
that's what's crazy too. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, think about all the craziness with Tiger. Potentially could have been more. Now you could make the case. Well, the insane nature of Tiger is what brought him to get to 683 weeks, and it's kind of like the Draymond thing. Like, if you tell Draymond to calm down, is he the same player? So maybe or maybe not, but. This number is what makes it just unattainable. Like 13.2 years, you would have to do it. Most guys aren't on the tour this long. So you would need a guy to constantly be. It's impossible. It really is.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's fast tracked and it's fast tracked in. I mean, just those consecutive streaks alone, it's almost nearly as much as Norman had combined career.
Yeah.
Like it's wild.
Yeah. So I think this is a pretty easy one. So it's going to be Tiger Woods, 683 combined weeks as world number one. And I've said this before. I just remember he was winning. What did they say? He was winning 40% of the tournaments. That is bonkers. Like the player of the year this year may win 2 or 3. This guy was winning 40%. And I told this story. Back then when you would be betting golf, instead of outright winners, it was Tiger versus the field, and Tiger was minus 120, and you weren't betting the field. You just weren't.
Yeah, you were betting Tiger, right? Seriously,
Yes, yeah,
that's wild.
It's like there's no value at the on the field. So congratulations to Tiger Woods, 683 combined weeks as world number one. That is in there. So, all right. So, Steve, one more time, tell everyone what you have up at sportsmemo.com.
I have a hoops pack up for 29 and 21 hoops run since December 1st. That's over at sportsmemo.com, and I'll be in action in the NFL this week as well. And I don't know if you want to circle back to props.cash for that college basketball player prop.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You want to use it? What game are we looking at?
North Carolina, we're looking at R.J. Davis.
Okay, North Carolina versus NC State. R.J. Davis, what you got?
So he's went over in 8 of 10 games, fallen short the last 2. So we get a bargain on his PRA number. It was sitting at 28.5 prior to these last 2 games, but he had poor shooting performances. Only shot 38% in those 2 games. I'm expecting a bounce back from him tonight here against North Carolina State. And a good one here is that we should avoid the blowout. The spread's only 3.5. And I'm looking at North Carolina controlling the tempo here and for RJ Davis to get back in the win column. This is one we've been riding for about the past 7 or 8 games now, and he's fallen short the past 2. So we get a nice bargain on the number.
Yeah, just keep riding the streak. I love it. Like you lose 2, who cares? Look at this record. Like who cares about losing 2 in a row? Come right back to it and just jump on the streak. He's not going to go 100%. You just need him to go like that 65, 70, maybe even up to 72, 73%. So I love this spot coming back to it. It's a great one. Don't panic about the streaks.
Yeah, and the fact is if he just shoots his normal percentage in this game, he'll get there again. And like I said, it was sitting at 28.5 and we were cashing it pretty much like 5 or 6 straight games prior to that. And I'll just continue to ride this player now until, we run into a spot where he fails us for a longer stretch. We go back to him tonight, though, after this is a nice bounce back spot.
Yeah, I love the bargain price at 26.5. So, all right, good stuff, Steve. Let's get ready for Wild Card Weekend. I'm down for team total Thursday if you are.
Yes, sir.
All right,
I'm in.
We'll be back for team total Thursday tomorrow. Get you ready. I'm going to miss not having Thursday night football. But that's all right.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I know. We'll get our fix in tomorrow. So good luck on all your plays, and we will see everyone tomorrow on the Road to Millions.
Good luck, guys.